Hi, we're here at Cannex Denver with UTC. We have Richard and Bryan here with me. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for speaking with me. Um, Basically, yeah, just kind of, I don't know who wants to kick off. Maybe Richard, give us a little introduction to UTC. Obviously, you've been going for over 30 years. So, kind of what's the history of your company?
Okay, so UTC is working in the canning industry for now over 30 years. Our main customers are the main OEMs. We work basically with all of them, some more years, some less, but it's a vertical inside UTC specific for canning, two pieces, three pieces, and packaging. We are aiming to develop more in packaging, also in other sectors of packaging. But yes, the main business for UTC in the packaging always has been the two-piece can and the three-piece can business, where we always have been quite successful, fortunately, with a lot of experience, knowing all the suppliers for so many years. So it's very important for us to keep this path with suppliers and the OEMs and have been the middle person connecting this into the transport into new plants.
So, what would you say, I guess, are the kind of like basic critical considerations for, coordinating like transport for big can making machinery?
Yeah. So it's for us it's called a project, not so much because of the cargos. Yes, we have the big press, we have washers, the IBOs, spin ovens, which are big in size, but there are so much bigger cargos in the world on project works, which we also handle. But for the canning industry, the project starts when we get the PO, we go to the customer, the shipper, collect at the shipper, keep the customer and buyer informed. We do a door-to-door service and have to connect everybody, the shipper, the importer, customs and everything, the carrier. So we are basically the middleman connecting everybody to keep everybody informed of step by step on their line. So this is a project in that sense, not because of the cargo itself, but of the information flow of everything.
Yeah, and would you say that's kind of got more critical the past few years,
Yes.
kind of like reporting on each stage of the supply chain?
I used to say that many times the information is as important or even more important than the cargo itself.
Mhm. Definitely. Okay, and so in terms of obviously worldwide, we've had a lot of turbulence over the past few years, to say the very least. In terms of COVID, how was that for you guys? How challenging was it,
I,
and what's kind
I
of been the
must
fallout?
honestly say that many of my white hair and and the others I have lost during COVID. It was the time where the canning industry has invested the most in history, I would say, never before. And the challenges were that we don't have truckers, we didn't have ships in place, uh, customs was not working always in every place. And overall, I must say, I'm glad to say that we managed not to delay the projects of our customers, even though all these challenges we had. Yes, there were hiccups, absolutely, but overall, we managed to deliver basically really everything on time for the customers. So it was very difficult because I said you could not talk to people, you could not rely on information from people. So it was very challenging, yes. But we survived and we are still here and our customers are still talking to us. So I think we did our way.
And so obviously we're entering kind of like a new era now of challenges worldwide. How is kind of the mood, I guess, with your
Look,
customers at the
I
moment?
think if you touch the transport side of the challenges we are having now, we have two challenges: the transport side and say the duty side. Now we are facing with this instability of going up, going down, 145% or no, whatever. So on the transport side, it's very specific market. We have big carriers, which were certain carriers and joint ventures and joint services to certain areas. They split. So we have today a new biggest carrier of the world, which is the Mediterranean Shipping Company, the Swiss company. They passed Maersk. So Maersk and MSC got separate ways. Maersk, So basically, I'm a told to the market, I can handle all the lanes I take care of on my own. I don't need partners. I have enough ships, I have enough containers, I can handle on my own. So Maersk, which was till 2 years ago the biggest carrier, is now the number two. He joined now Hapag-Lloyd, which is a German Chilean company, and they now are on a joint service. That means the other joint services that Hapag-Lloyd had, they split with other partners. This had a consequence which people normally don't see, that you have to go to new terminals. You have to find new berth windows. So the complete schedule of the carriers is suffered a lot the last month. We have cut and runs, we have change of rotations. It's being very, very challenging. It's not as bad as COVID, but I must say pretty close, really, because we deliver the cargoes, they say we will not ship this ship, not next week, only the third ship. It's being very challenging, so to say the least. The tariff side, which is also very challenging. So one important number, and this Bryan was looking into this week, that 60% of the cargo is missing basically from China, mainly China, to the U.S. West Coast. So ships are having 40% cargo only. So that's for them the challenge, right? They bought ships with 20, 25,000 containers capacity, and they are sailing with 40%. So how they will react? Like in the past, giving very low rates just to fill the ship, or will they try to keep rates high in order to avoid losing too much money? And this is too early to say today. There is being a how they will work this out. So if you go to the Chinese market, you get rates for 1 week validity only. Every week you have to re-quote your cargo. So that's the challenge we are facing. And in our side, in the industry, we have a big customs operation in the United States. And I really feel sorry for them, because to do a customs entry where you're responsible sometimes for hundreds of thousands of dollars payment, you have to do it right, because customs can come in 3, 4, 5 years, say, hey, you made a mistake here. You should have paid 10% more or 20% more. So how you will handle this? So you have to be more careful. You have to check everything, and it's changing so many times. So it's being very difficult. It's a huge challenge, really.
So we'll see in the coming months as well. Bryan, do you have anything?
I think Richard said it particularly well.
Yeah.
I think one of the big challenges with the duty situation, in particular, is, as he said, the changing nature of it, the reacting by tweet in the United States to, and then when these things are tweeted, understanding that that's a change of, without getting all wonky about governance, that's a change of how we typically operate in the United States. Customs has to quickly adjust. Customs brokers have to quickly adjust to what customs is doing, and every customer all at once wants to know how it impacts them at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. So how do you know, we're all about care, concern, being methodical in our approach, eat a little, eat a long time, dealing in chaos, as we have really since COVID. I keep trying to convince myself that we've learned a lesson. I'm not sure what lesson we've exactly learned, other than we can get to the other side.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, definitely. In terms of, I guess, sustainability is a massive, topic. How has that kind of sort of grown? Has there been any challenges in terms of making your operations more sustainable? Are customers wanting to know, how much mileage or carbon emissions you're using? How has
I
that been?
think the issue is like similar than COVID, with all those delays and say attitudes by carriers to have their own challenges to fill the ships or to change the rotation, whatever. Many times you are left in the dark.
Yeah.
And then you have to chase what is going on there and how you approach your customer to give the bad news in respect to this. As I said, that's a similarity to COVID, even being a different trigger. which started the same situation. So for us, it's more work, longer time trying to have things fixed. In transport and in customs, even worse with those taxes. So yes, it's impacting, it's been stressful, but yeah, logistics somehow we always have those up and downs, and now we are in those downs again and trying to go up. Um, the industry from our vertical now, we see that the market is reacting a bit. We see that people are having more inquiries. The Far East mainly is being very active. The US, there is a new can plant announced 2 months ago, I think, about. South America, in Brazil, there's a new plant coming, and Africa has new plants. So there are movements which we were missing the last 2 years, basically, and they are starting slowly to come. If you ask me, I think 26 and 27 will be much better years, and also the end of this year.
Yeah, I think I agree. And so, in terms of UTC, are there any new developments or anything else that you kind of want to share with our readers?
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned sustainability. We've undertaken a study, both internal and external, because obviously our European clients are looking for implementation on EU standards, right? And if they're based in the United States, there's a carryover effect from what they're doing in the EU into the US. In parallel, you've got US companies that, they're going to be, my own opinion, they're going to be a tad slow to react. They'll react when legislation affords them the opportunity to have to do so. Keeping in mind that we're in the transportation business, the dirty secret is that steamship line fuel is literally the dirtiest fuel on the market. How do you account for that within a supply chain on behalf of a client? Sometimes it's different sourcing that we aren't necessarily a part of, but we can give input on, a particular trade lane, for instance, that would decrease the mileage someone would, or a different entry port that might decrease the mileage, which assists. We're also doing, as I said, in parallel, our own initiative as well. It's somewhat in the early days, but a lot of it has to do with tracking emissions right now and then providing some sort of offset program. That's in the US. Our EU team is doing what's needed in the EU. And in terms of new developments, we continue to grow globally. We've opened up Poland within the last year. We've opened up Switzerland in the last year. We've just opened up within the last month in the Dominican Republic. The good news for us in the canning and packaging sector, whereas some of these openings might be for someone in the power gen sector or one of our other verticals, as UTC gets stronger globally, we're able to service our global clients in the packaging sector even in a more robust manner.
Yeah, and I think regarding, I think he said carriers have the worst fuel. They have changed the last years. They are buying more expensive oils, which are less heavy, mainly when they enter Europe, because Europe is more strict. This is somehow going back to other countries as well. You see carriers' initiative of alcohol. You see carriers' initiatives with wind power even, and people are thinking in the future maybe using hydrogen. So the carriers are also in that movement of changing. Trucking, you see in Europe more advanced in this direction. Electric trucks, hydrogen trucks. I always say it's very nice, and I think it's important for the world for the future. The problem is always when it comes to sourcing, if the customer wants to pay for it, because a hydrogen truck, a battery truck, costs 3 times more than a diesel truck, and nobody wants to pay 50% more freight charges. So that balance, it will be step by step. I think, unfortunately, slower due to cost, but it's very important. And I think more and more people are starting to look into it, which is positive.
Yeah.
And there must be more regulation from government, because without that, I think it will be very difficult in certain markets to have those steps going further.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a case of kind of everyone banding together and being on that same level, and as you say, finding the balance. So yeah, interesting. Well, thank you very much for joining me,
Oh,
both
you're
of you.
welcome.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Thanks
yeah.
for the opportunity.